State Edition right here on 92.9 KVRE and streaming online at kvre.com. With Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver. Good morning. On today's show, we'll talk National Park College Nighthawk athletics. We'll also recap the various state tournaments going on in baseball, softball, and boys and girls soccer. Have some national sports topics to get to as well, and some big news heading towards Hot Springs that we'll get to later in the show. But Tracy, good morning. Welcome back. And a big week for sports here in the Spa City and the surrounding areas, isn't it?
Man, oh man, we've got tons of activities around the region. If you like athletics, we've got something for everyone. Baseball, softball. We even had a big weekend in the Sport of Kings with racing, also soccer, also track and field. I don't know even where to start, Mark. You take off, man, and I'll follow your lead, buddy.
Well, there's certainly too much to cover in 1 hour's time. And, of course, I'm on the road this week, joining on the phone. I'm in Ardmore, Oklahoma for the National Park College NJCAA Region 2 softball tournament. And a great tournament. Of course, we'll talk about that later in the show. Tracy, our first topic that I'd like to discuss this week actually involves coaching. Now, I know that in all of your years of following sports, you have coached at various levels in different games. I've also got some experience coaching Pee-wee athletics and things like that for my youngsters out there. And when you look at coaching and the way that this has evolved, whether it be on the professional stage or maybe at the youth stage with Little League, there's a lot of pressure that's really been added to the position as we've kind of grown and as our society has kind of progressed with the way youth sports and professional sports has evolved. You know, originally, being a coach really meant that you were the head of the snake, so to speak, of a program. You know, you were the leader. You had the power. You know, there was a lot of respect associated with the position. You held all the cards, so to speak. And now with the evolution perhaps of maybe social media, extended contracts for professional athletes making substantially more money than that of the coaches, there's really been a power shift, especially in professional sports. And, of course, we look at the NBA, we look at the MLB, where all of a sudden there's an athletic culture of winning means everything. It's championship or bust. Very talented coaches at the biggest stages of their respective sports that may come up short in the end and not win a ring, not get that trophy at the end of the season and lose their job, and the coaching carousel continues to spin. And Tracy, I want to get your take on this. Is there too much pressure applied to being a head coach these days?
Mark, back in the day, okay, when we're talking present, back in the day, it was more of, I'm the head coach now. What do I do to help these young men, these young women get to the next level, not only become professionals, but also in life, and how are they going to establish their grounds, maybe even after they get through with sports. And just like you said, the dynamics have changed a complete 180, whereas there was a little bit of integrity to the system. Nowadays, it's almost like the whole world is on their shoulders, and they've got to win, and win at all costs. And not only at the professional level, but you see it even obviously at the college level, but even now at the high school level, and even like you stated, Pee-wee level, junior high, it's every day that something comes up, and why are we not winning? And don't get me wrong, we love to win. There's all sorts of stories made up through the years of winners, but then there's also the culture right now that if you don't win, you're out of there. I mean, it's just that simple. We say time and time again, one and done. Well, guess what? It's don't win and you're done. And you remember the whole saying, NFL, what he said, the coach said at the pro level, not for long. And it's just that simple. If you don't produce, you don't show a percentage to where you got the W's, then you don't last. So the weight can be on their shoulders at sometimes. And not only that, but now you've got a system that's paying the players more than the coach. And that's some respect I don't understand. You've got these multi-millionaires coming up in some cases billionaires nowadays, that the coach may be 20, even 30 years their peer, and they're making more than 10 to 15, maybe even 20 times more than the coach. How do you show respect to somebody that, I'm the better player, I know it all, I'm making this much money? And then how do you show respect and honor this man with following his guidance? That is a tough, bucket to fill up. And so these coaches, how do they offer that dynamic to where I'm still your peer? It's not there anymore, Mark. And you're seeing a lot of it. You're seeing arguments on the court. You're seeing it on the field. And due to lack of respect, and you've heard me say this time and time again, Mark, even when we're calling games on high school level, discipline. We've lost the discipline in sports, whether it's at the professional level and trickling on down to peewees. We've lost the discipline, and I think that does a lot to the coaches have lost ground on this, and the responsibility of them is not as much as so to make these people better in life, but just to have a winning situation. And so the dynamics, I think you say, the pressure on them, yeah, the pressure's there, but it's a different dynamic nowadays. Win, win, win at all costs, or you're gone. It's just that simple. And you've seen it time and time again. If their percentages drop down, or if there's a player that's got a huge contract and he's not getting along with the coach, you think they're going to get rid of that player? No. They get rid of the coach. And for what it's worth, I think, as I was saying, the dynamics, I think the terminology has changed now to where not just winning, but winning at all costs. And so the pressure is unbelievable. And yeah, don't get me wrong, and we'll dwell on this here in a little bit. They make a lot of money, substantially more than what they used to make back in the day, obviously. But as it is, no. They sometimes forget about taking care of folks after their professional years. It's all about what's going on right now. What are we going to do to win? And that pressure can mount up, Mark. And you've experienced it having it at the peewee level, and I have too for years, and having kids come up and playing at the next level. And the pressures obviously gets to some folks. And I don't think it's near the situation it was years ago. And certainly times have changed. And these coaches are feeling it right now. The pressure's built up, and it's a cooker that's ready to blow at any time, at any level. You know what I mean?
Of course I know what you mean. And you mentioned high school. One thing to throw out whenever you look at success, rating coaches' success on the high school level, you also have to consider a high school coach may be doing more than just coaching a team. They may be a math teacher in the classroom. They may be teaching health or physical education, history, or other classes in the classroom. They may have other duties as well. They're wearing multiple hats. They're juggling multiple things. And of course, anybody who's ever been a coach knows that there's so much sacrifice that goes into the job. This is not a 40-hour-a-week job, and you do not see your family, your wife, your husband, your kids very often, certainly as much as you would like to. It all goes into helping your team win, and, the ultimate goal is to create better leaders, whether it's on the field or off the field of play, while also setting them up to possibly win a championship or go above and beyond and do something great. But I think something that culturally that we sort of lose sight on is, yes, we want to be the last team standing at the end of the season, but you have to remember only one team gets to do it. Only one team gets to host that trophy, and not every coach will be able to do that. It's the harsh reality of professional sports as well. When we talk about the disparity in the contract amount, of course, the star players are always going to get paid more, whether it's endorsement or, it's the players that are ones putting fans in the seats in the stadium, no doubt about it. Maybe outside of a few fringe levels where you have like a Nick Saban, who's a big draw, college-wise. And, certainly for Arkansas, I'm sure John Calipari is going to put some butts in seats as well for the Arkansas Razorbacks. But the other part that really plays into this, going back to the NBA, the Los Angeles Lakers are looking for a new coach right now, getting rid of Darvin Ham, championship or bust. They didn't get there despite having some aging superstars that have done very well. They made the playoffs. They lost to the reigning champion, the Denver Nuggets. It's really not that that harsh of a loss in terms of when you look at the level of competition. But, of course, the Lakers planning to bring in J.J. Redick to fill those shoes, a young man who is a former NBA player, doesn't have a huge coaching resume. But what happens in the NBA, you talk about it, if there's a rift between the locker room with the players and the coaches, it's the coach that goes. They're not going to get rid of the players, right? But what we've really been seeing, especially in professional sports, is the idea of the player coach. Of course, this is where a player like LeBron James might come into play, where obviously he's very skilled, he's very gifted, he's knowledgeable on the game, and he'll make a great head coach one day if he decides to do that after his playing days are over. But who controls what happens in the locker room right now? Was it Darvin Ham for the Lakers, or maybe is LeBron James helping call some of the shots? You know, when it comes down to selecting players in the NBA draft, you don't think these star players have input? Well, you better go get this guy, fill this gap, give a guy that's a good fit for me, or else I'm not going to be happy. When my contract's up, I'm out of here, and, good luck filling my shoes kind of thing. So the pressure, yeah, it's absolutely there. I think social media adds more scrutiny to it as well because there's so much negativity. Anybody can hide behind their fingertips, keyboard warriors, and I think that puts organizations in very difficult positions, forced to keep their fan bases happy.
Let's put this into perspective, Mark. When Alabama hired Coach Bear Bryant in 1957, his contract was $17,500. Are you $17,500? Okay, and then all of a sudden let's flash forward to Calipari, okay, or even Saban over there. We're talking the 10, the 11 million a year contract. You're telling me that along with that, there's no pressure. But the distinct difference I feel, Mark, is that the integrity level, the discipline level was back in those days is what the player had for the coaches, and they held that over their head, not a salary cap or something like that. And I believe that's one of the biggest difference. Yes, I think it's the contracts have totally got out of hand, and so far, I don't see it going backwards whatsoever. I'm sorry, but the coaching aspects of those days, like we used to have, are all but gone. You're listening to segment 1 right now from Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition. We'll be talking about a new aspect of a sport coming to Hot Springs in segment 2, so stick around right here to 92.9 and streaming at KVRE.com.
Welcome back to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition right here on 92.9 KVRE and online at KVRE.com. Alongside Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, some big news coming to the Spa City in recent weeks. Of course, the state of Arkansas doesn't have its own professional sports team, but it has a lot of very loyal fan bases. It has minor league baseball. In Northwest Arkansas, they have the Naturals. In Central Arkansas, we have the Arkansas Travelers. And although the Arkansas Razorbacks aren't a pro team, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference with how passionate the fan bases are here. And, of course, numerous college teams, numerous dynasty-like high school teams as well. So we really try to fill those gaps of not having one of those major, NBA, MLB, or even NFL team. But something new coming to Hot Springs, I think, is going to be a very welcome addition, and that's arena football, Tracy. The announcement made a couple weeks ago that arena football will expand to Hot Springs, Arkansas for the 2025 season. The yet-to-be-named team will play at the Hot Springs Convention Center in the downtown Spa City. And the organization, I think this is the best part, Tracy, they plan to hire local staff, involve local business leaders in the ownership group. They're going to sell season tickets, and they're even going to have the community name the team. How about that, Tracy? Arena football. You down the clown? You ready?
Well, Mark, we've seen this before in Little Rock. It had an excitement to it. We actually knew some of the players. We called their names when we were calling high school football, and I think it's exciting. I think it's something that the kids can look forward to, these young men that are trying to get to the next level. And actually, Mark, in the past, you've seen actually some of these arena football players leave the arena and go to the next level, whether it was on the practice squad or something like that, because the coaches might have saw something or the scouts might have seen something that caused interest in them. Now, from my standpoint, we know a lot of the kids that maybe not get the calls. We've seen this happen before, Mark. You know this, that didn't get the call from the high school level that maybe should have, because maybe either the school didn't have recognition, or maybe it didn't win the big state championship or even make it to conference. But they had that one player on there that deserved a shot. You know what I mean? Or maybe there was one that maybe got to go to the next level. Maybe had a little bit of complications with his knee or his ankle or something. Now he's recouped. Well, now he's got another chance, so to speak. Arena football, hey, they get out there and they get after it. I know it's on a shorter field and it's enclosed, but make no bones about it. They get after it. They hit. Now, the rules, of course, which we'll go into at a later date, are tremendously different. But you got to run, you still got to tackle, you still got to catch, and you got to carry. It's all the basics of football, just in a encompassed sort of Thunderdome, so to speak. And that's the way I can relate to it. But I think it's great. Also, from the business standpoint, the economic power of it. Like you said, the Travelers, the Razorbacks, and all the other teams, the Red Wolves, the Bears, the Naturals. But now you got a team that's coming, the semi-pro team, so to speak. That is a huge uplifting, and that's going to speak volumes as far as the economical base for Hot Springs, and not only Hot Springs, but I think for the surrounding areas. I know if the ones that were in Little Rock, I drove over to Little Rock to watch it, and already we have people coming to Hot Springs as far as tourism. This is just going to be another level of tourism for people to come to Hot Springs and get excited. And what it does, it promotes all the capital base as far as tourism and more money to this. I think it's a win-win for everybody, and not only including the players, the coaches, the staff, like you said, everybody getting hired, but also the tourism. I think Arkansas wins altogether. What do you think?
Oh, I think so too, Tracy. Of course, semi-pro football is actually not new to the Central Arkansas area. In the Little Rock area right now, you have the likes of the Arkansas Punishers, the Arkansas Bolts. These are guys that, like you said, didn't make it to the next level, or maybe they did and they got hurt, and now they've got a second chance. Then you're playing the game that they love. And there's been a lot of success and a lot of strong fan bases following those organizations. And, of course, arena football, a little bit different. They play on a 50-yard field, no huddles. There's a quick play clock, only 15-man rosters, which means everybody goes two ways. I think the uniqueness of this makes it perfect for Hot Springs as well. Think about all the great things that Hot Springs does to draw in tourism. The world's shortest St. Patrick's Day parade. Very, very unique. Some might even call it a little bit strange, a little bit different, right? But look how many people it draws every year. How about the bathtub races in downtown Hot Springs? This is another excellent opportunity to add our own little personal twist to it. Make it a little weird, maybe. Make it a little bit different. Make it unique. Make it special. And I think that that's the niche that this Hot Springs community has created to help draw things in. Now, Tracy, I mentioned before, and I'll say it again, this team does not have a name currently, and the ownership group, is very committed on hiring local staff to be the production crew and game day operations. They want local business input from leaderships on the ownership group, the board of directors, and they want the community to name the team. And I've got the URL here. It is thearenaleague.football/Hot Springs. Now, Tracy, before I put you on the spot, there are 4 other teams in the league already. And just to give you a little bit of an example, here are their team names. You have the Ozark Lunkers, the Duluth Harbor Monsters, the Iowa Woo, and the Kansas City Goats. All kind of, unique names out there. If I put you on the spot, what do you think Hot Springs would come up with? Just give me a general idea and let me know. What do you think a good name would be for a Spa City arena football team?
Oh my goodness, Mark. That you did put me on the spot there. I really hadn't thought about it much. But when it comes to it, I think you'd have to either affiliate it, of course, with the hot water, the boilers, or something of that nature, or maybe even the Diamonds, something of that nature because of, goodness, you put me on the spot. I think it'd be something cool with the Spa City Boilers, something like that.
Tracy, I'm really 100% disappointed in you that you did not say the Holy Cows. I really thought that's where you were going to go. I gave you a curve. I gave you a fastball and you missed it. You struck out on me. No, I like your idea about the hot water. Honestly, with it being in Hot Springs, and someone's probably going to take this and steal this idea, and it probably will be the name of the team and whatever. They can credit me later. But I was thinking hot water. What about heat wave? I don't know. Just something that kind of stood out in the back of my head. I don't know what that mascot would look like at all. Maybe you need a mascot. Maybe you need a team name that has a mascot that, can actually have a costume. But, who knows? I'm really excited for this opportunity, Tracy. I think it'll be very fun, very special for this community, and I think it's going to help grow tourism more for Visit Hot Springs. That's already doing so many amazing things for our community.
Well, Mark, don't get any ideas now. Don't get any ideas because you're the only one that I can do the Holy Cows with when we're calling ball. So I can already see your brain. I can already see it working. I can already see it working now because our biggest are they going to play on Friday or Saturday or Sunday or Monday or Tuesday? We don't know yet, but I'm sure it's just like a weekend sport. But yeah, don't get any ideas. You're not leaving Friday night with me yet, okay? I'm sorry.
Tracy, Hannah would kill me. My wife would murder me in my sleep if I took on any more announcing responsibilities. But I got to say, hey, it would be cool.
Yeah. Oh, I know. So, we could hop over from Friday night to Saturdays, afternoons or nights. It depends on the situation, of course. So whatever the case name is of them or whatever, or maybe you could just, what could happen? One of us could actually slip in there as one of the mascots or something. I don't know, man. But more than likely, we'll probably be attending those games. We'll be talking about it a lot more. And I can't wait. I think it is exciting for the community, for, like you said, the tourism. I think it speaks volumes on anything to help with generate any kind of income, of course. Now, as well that I'm not being pessimistic here, but the life of these teams. How long the maturation rate is of these teams and how long they last. Once the new wears off, you know exactly where I'm going with this. How long does this team have before it stays successful or before they're the one and dones of the world? What do you think on that one?
Well, Tracy, you're right. And one of the hardest things to do is just to get the team off the ground in the first place. You've got to get the community to buy into it. You've got to be able to make money, to continue making money. And, will the community accept this? I like to think yes, but I also live, breathe sports 24/7. Is this the right fit for Hot Springs? I would certainly like to think so. I think it'll be a great thing for this community to rally behind, and not just Hot Springs, but the surrounding areas as well. But you're right. It'll have to be supported by this community, not just for the first year, not just for the second year, but it will have to sustain life over a long period of time for it to really show, I think, a true return both in this community and financially for the ownership as well.
Mark, give that site again that they can go to a possibility help with the naming of it.
Yes, you can name the team. They're looking for your suggestions today for the new Hot Springs Arena football team. The arenaleague.football/Hot Springs.
Well, you and I will have to come up with something. Of course, we'll butt heads on it as like we always do, or we may collaborate on this and see exactly what we can come up with. But we know right now that you and I will be at those games, and we may be calling you as maybe guest appearance. You never know, or maybe slip as an official. We'll talk more about that. We've got segment 3 coming up. A lot more Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition right here at 92.9. And don't forget now, we're streaming at kvre.com. And this is more or less a podcast. Also, you can check it out on our website and also on iHeartRadio. We'll be right back. Don't lift that tailgate yet.
Welcome back to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition right here on 92.9 KVRE and streaming online at kvre.com with Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver, calling in over the phone lines from Ardmore, Oklahoma, the site of the NJCAA Region 2 softball tournament. And Tracy, I have seen some excellent collegiate softball games over the past few days in my time here in Oklahoma. Postseason softball, it's always exciting. You never know who's going to win games. Big moments stepping up, come from behind victories. There's something for everybody at this level of the sport.
Well, we knew that when you were heading over there that the competitive level was going to be something, because you've got several of these teams that can make it to the top. And as the brackets are starting to dwindle, you're just seeing that, some excellent play, and also some extended version, unfortunately, huh, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. Game one of this tournament began at 11 a.m. on Thursday, and game one did not finish until almost 8 o'clock p.m. on Thursday. Severe weather moving into the state of Oklahoma and kind of throwing things for a loop a little bit. So a lengthy lightning delay ends up pushing everything back. And then it just so happens that we finish day one actually inside of day two, right around 2:30 in the morning. So let's recap a little bit. Day one of the softball tournament, Western Oklahoma State College taking on SAU Tech right out of Camden, Arkansas in that game one. This is a series that SAU Tech in the regular season really had Western's number, winning 3 games out of 4 in regular season play. But in this postseason game, it was Western Oklahoma State College that had SAU Tech's number, jumping out to 6 runs with a big lead in the bottom of the first inning. And the Pioneers really never looked back after that point. Big first inning getting on the board, kind of disrupted SAU Tech's rhythm, chased their star pitcher in the first inning, and made the Rockets play catch-up the rest of the way. Now, of course, this game was suspended in the bottom of the 6th inning due to severe weather. 5 years, it felt like 5 years. 5 hours later, we come out and we finish this thing. But Western Oklahoma State College, the one standing in the end, thanks to that big first inning, 7-2, the final score. The Pioneers move on to day two.
Mark, we alluded to this last week when we were talking about you going out there. We know the weather played a factor, of course, all right, with the delay and everything, but we knew going into it also that these teams were capable of the long ball. Was that a factor in any of the games as far as, was it just that, or was there a lot of striking?
Well, Tracy, it's huge. And, of course, we talked about this before in Oklahoma, very flat landscape, a lot of wind, and I mean a lot of wind. You warned me about this, but I really had no idea what we were talking about until I experienced it for myself. I know that in Game 2, which was University of Arkansas Rich Mountain out of Mena versus North Arkansas College in Harrison, I don't know if anybody actually heard me on the broadcast because the wind was so strong in that game. Severe weather was just wrapping up in the area as well. But, dirt flying everywhere. I know we had to pause the game multiple times because pitchers were getting dirt and like dust blown into their eyes. It was really incredible stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know exactly how to prepare you for that, but half of Oklahoma is just that. That's why they had the Dust Bowl, no pun intended, years and years and years ago. But yeah, I sort of felt like that was going to be a factor going into it, especially once, if and ever they got into the long, somebody trying to hit home runs. I didn't know which way the wind was going to carry and if it would be a factor on that, which could really play havoc for the outfielders on that. But I've got news for you. You hope for rain sometime to lay down the dust. And so with all that said and done, what have we got to look forward to as far as the brackets from here on out?
Yeah, of course, wrapping up day one, University of Arkansas Rich Mountain downs North Arkansas College 7-2. In Game 3, the number 1 seed in the tournament and the number 3 team in the nation, Murray State College, the host team out of Tishomingo, Oklahoma, takes care of ASU Mountain Home 24-2. And then in the nightcap, the rule was, with everything pushed back, they had to get every game started before 11:59. Well, the nightcap game was National Park College and Carl Albert State, and they got the first pitch in at 11:30 p.m., and that game did not end until 2:20 in the morning. Tracy, let me tell you, this was the most exciting softball game I think I have ever witnessed in all of my years broadcasting sports, back and forth ball game, tons of home runs, big leads, and then big lead race. In the end, National Park College walks it off in the bottom of the seventh inning, 11-10, to move on in the winner's bracket. And in the winner's bracket, it'll be an NP taking on University of Arkansas Rich Mountain, and then Western Oklahoma State College taking on the top dog, Murray State College. One of these teams is going to win this tournament and punch their ticket to nationals in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Now, NBC, they've played against that other team before, so they know what to expect from them or what's going to happen from there. And obviously we're taping this early, but this is something that NBC could advance in, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. Of course, the next matchup, the Nighthawks are going to take on Rich Mountain, and this is a Bucks team out of Mena that kind of played spoiler to the Nighthawks season, bumped them down a tier, down to the number 3 seed instead of the number 2 seed. So NPD is kind of looking for some revenge in this matchup, trying to get back at Rich Mountain for kind of knocking them down a tier, if you will. But all eyes are on Murray State College in this tournament. They're certainly the team to beat. They boast 9 players batting over 400 in the lineup, multiple records. They lead the nation in 9 offensive categories. You're likely looking at not only the best team in this tournament, but the best team in the United States of America. So beating them is no tall task. You have to beat them twice at the double elimination tournament. But if you do, you feel like you've earned the right to play with anybody. So recognizing that national stage, Spartanburg, South Carolina, that's a big accomplishment if you're able to get past Murray State and get to South Carolina.
Yeah, oh my goodness, that would be so exciting. But tough task, but if anybody can do it, they can carry forward. A lot of other things going on with baseball also with NPC such and around the area, correct?
That's right. Of course, NPC baseball is in the postseason as well. They're in Enid, Oklahoma this week. Nighthawks had a bit of a heartbreaker, honestly, against Western Oklahoma State College. Eli Hutcherson, we talk about him all the time, the sophomore out of Cabot. He pitched a gem of a performance, 8 innings pitched, and NP had the lead going into the 9th inning, coughed it up late. Western Oklahoma State College woke up with the bats whenever it mattered the most, ended up getting the walk-off victory, 4-3, and knocking NPC down into the losers bracket. National Park College faces Northern Oklahoma College Enid. That's the host school, and the season will be on the line. So we tip our hat to Rich Thompson, wish him the best of luck, and those guys who worked so hard for this Nighthawk Baseball Club, their goal this season was just to get to the postseason, and they were competitive all the way down the stretch to the number 1 seed out of the West, the number 11 team in the country, Western Oklahoma State College. NPD gave it a very good run in that game. Sad to see him fall short in the end.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But, hey, you know what? Being the way it is right there, Coach has got a lot to look forward to. Got some, like you were saying, some kids that are coming up and making an impression already around the conference, and we've got some coming back, and then we got some new ones coming up from the high school level. So that's an anticipation that we look forward to. A lot of the local hum around here, some of the local kids making an impact, which, hey, you're getting an education, you're getting to do what you want to play baseball. So, we look forward to how the cards lie. We look forward to a good season next year, Mark. There's one thing about, I'm going to tell you this right now. One thing about Oklahoma, you just hold on as long as you can because it's just as much as Arkansas. The weather will change, I promise you that. And it looks like you got a good a good day ahead of you today, okay, bud?
Yeah, absolutely. During the severe weather, one of the funny things that I got to observe is I got to see an absolute downpour on one of the softball fields and not the other one, 50 feet away. So I've really learned a lot in my time here this week. And, of course, I know my voice is not quite there. I've been calling a lot of games, and, sometimes, me, I get a little bit excited sometimes.
Maybe a little.
I won't be able to talk when I get home to Hot Springs, and it's fine. having a really great time watching some really great softball this week.
Well, there's no doubt about that. And I know the fans out there are having a good time. Just try to get you as much orange juice as you can in you. And you know what? Just stay steady. Have a safe trip back tonight, and we look forward to hitting the road. I will talk to you later this week, and we'll get updates on everything that's coming up in the next week. All right, man. Sports and Shorts right around the corner with segment 4, Tailgate Edition, right here at 92.9 and streaming at KVRE.com.
Welcome back to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition right here on 92.9 KVRE, streaming online at KVRE.com. Last but certainly not least on this week's show, our local high school sports roundup. The state tournament is upon us in multiple sports, on the softball diamond, on the baseball diamond, and on the soccer pitch for boys and girls soccer as well. And Tracy, there are a number of area teams fighting for state championships to bring home to their communities, their schools, and some of their seasons have ended. Some of them are moving on, and we start on the softball diamond this week as Lake Hamilton says farewell to a great season, falling to Greenwood 12-2 in the first round. A year to remember, taking down tough competition, setting multiple records over in Wolf Country, but Lake Hamilton just falling just short to a really good Greenwood team. How many times have we said those words before?
Oh, man. I don't know what's in the water up in Greenwood, Mark. I really don't. But whether it's baseball, softball, football, whatever the case is, something's up there that we need to tap into. We think Hot Springs is the water town and such with all the multiple great advantages of it. But something in Greenwood, we better go test the spirits up there because it's definitely a place to be involved, especially in the high school level sports. Something special to be said about that. But also, Mark, you and I have said this, I can't tell you how many countless times too, though. It's not necessarily the team with the best record going in, especially in baseball. And you cover baseball better than anybody, and that's your persona. But it's the team maybe that's going in hot. And Greenwood was hot at the latest, and so maybe it was just their day. But we're seeing that also in the baseball ranks, too, around the region, whether it's at the collegiate level or at the high school level. It's the team that's hot because they play so many games. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to compete against some of these schools' dynasty-like programs, and Lake Hamilton just falls just short in the end. Another softball dynasty closes the books on its season as well. That's Benton losing the Greenbrier 8-5 in the first round. So many state championships have come to the Lady Panthers in recent years, and just falling short this season. As we turn our attention over to the lower classifications of softball, Class 4A Malvern moving on with a big win over Wynn, 7-6. The Lady Leopards stay alive in their championship hopes. And in Class 2A, Magnet Cove, those Lady Panthers, we talked about them a lot last week. They survive a scare against Desark, 3-2. Magnet Cove and Malvern, both in the quarterfinals of the state tournament.
Mark, let's flash back a little bit, going back to Benton. That group right there, how many are going to come off that team? Because we sort of keep up with our regional play around here. How many girls off that team are going to go to the next level?
Oh, most of them, Tracy. Of course, at National Park College, they've got 3 right now that were on championship teams for Benton. So many of them go to area schools. Some are playing at Henderson State University right now. Some are coming to NPC next year. And there's a number of junior colleges in the state of Arkansas that are soaking up all these recruits, championship caliber players looking to play at the next level and get playing time. Oh, yeah, that's a great sell for anyone from Benton.
Mark, baseball right now, particularly in this area, it's so rich. Of course, we talk about Majestic Park all the time, but at the high school level, hey, a huge emphasis going on up in Harrison.
Yeah, of course, the state tournament happening in Harrison, Lake Hamilton, on top over Mountain Home, surviving a scare, maybe, if you will, winning 4-3, moving on to the quarterfinals in baseball. Hot Springs Lakeside falling in the state tournament, losing to Greenbrier 7-6, and Benton on the baseball diamond, dropping a heartbreaker to Van Buren 8-6. very tough teams. Like we said before in the show, only one team can be standing when it's all said and done.
Mark, around the state, though, we look at these, not necessarily dynasties, but teams that we always seem to keep repeating. And Vilonia, Greenbrier, somehow they keep popping up somehow, don't they?
One of the biggest rivalries in sports in Central Arkansas. Vilonia, Greenbrier, always in the mix. Feels like no matter what sport they play in. Bryant and Benton as well. We haven't talked about Bryant yet. In Class 6A baseball, the Hornets get a first-round bye to the second round. They will be a very tough out on the baseball diamond and look to be the favorite to win the 6A title this year. On the 3A level, Haskell, Harmony Grove, and Bismarck both fall in the first round. Haskell losing to Gosnell 4-1. The Bismarck Lions ending its season to Rivercrest 10-3. And the Poen Indians in Class 2A falling to Riverside 6-1 in the first round.
Hey, I've got another little shout out to Bigelow, the Panthers. How about football, now baseball, and then they did it with basketball. What's going on over at Bigelow with them Panthers, Mark?
Bigelow has turned into a sports dynasty program out there, just a little bit like west of Conway. I remember years ago where, Bigelow struggled to win football games, would finish winless on the season. And boy, how that program has turned around, being very competitive. Some of the brightest stars in the state of Arkansas live in some of these rural communities. And I love a good underdog story, the revitalization of this program, whether it's on the baseball diamond, on the football field. Athletics is back in a big way over at Bigelow, and I'm here for it.
Got to do a little bit of a shout-out for a new coach they got over there maybe, huh, at Bigelow?
Yeah, why don't you tell me more about that, Tracy?
A new hire for assistant coach, defensive coach, Colson Simpson. We called his name a couple of times, didn't we, when he played football at Fountain Lake, Mark, didn't we?
Oh, absolutely we did. What a true leader for that program, and he's going to do so many great things. A defensive mastermind. I can't wait to see what he does next in his career.
Yeah, proud of my son. Congratulations, son. Appreciate you so much. But he is now a Bigelow Panther. So many great things around the region, of course. Don't want to leave out, but the Meet of Champions was at Lake Hamilton this last week. And unfortunately, some of the local teams, they did finish in the top. But Bentonville took the girls' division, and then Fayetteville finished in the boys' division. Bryant right behind them. And, it was a tough one. And then, of course, a lot of teams around the area had some great accolades as far as the Jesseville Lions and then even Lake Hamilton and Lakeside. But as it is right now, that's something special. And, love track and field. Some of these that were out there are going to be at the next level up on the hill. And we know what the Razorbacks do when it comes to track and field. And certainly special for all these young men and women that participated in the Meet of Champions. Love track and field. Used to love getting out there and being competitive at that level. Like you were saying earlier, Mark, a lot of these smaller schools, these kids, they participate in 2, 3, and even maybe 4 sports. And we got to say a big shout out to all of the young men and women that participated in that. It was just a very active week. I've got a big shout out going on. A local connection, Mark. We're going to switch gears right now. They ran the Kentucky Derby, and Mystic Dan, with ownerships connecting out of Hot Springs, won the Kentucky Derby by, not a nostril. I mean, just that close. The closest Kentucky Derby in almost 60 years, and it was something special. And McPeak, that was the trainer, and Hernandez, that was the jockey. It's the first time since 1952 that a winning combination won the Kentucky Oaks, which is run on Friday, and the Kentucky Derby on Saturday. The filly race and the colt race, unbelievable, a feat that they accomplished. And with the connections out of Hot Springs, congratulations to them. What an exciting weekend for not only the thoroughbred racing industry, but the town of Hot Springs. It all comes back to Hot Springs again, Mark, once again, huh?
It sure does. I love that story, Tracy. And when you say it all comes back to Hot Springs, a couple of teams that I really left out that I've got to get to. Boys and girls soccer in the state tournament, Lakeside. Big wins in the state tournament. Lakeside girls down in Greenbrier 3-0. They're the favorite to win it all this season. Moving on to the quarterfinals, and Lakeside boys soccer taking down Greenwood 3-0. And on the boys side, it's been a long time since we've seen a boys sport and a girls sport both being the favorite to win it all. I can't wait to see that trophy come to Hot Springs Lakeside later this week.
Well, you see a lot of that soccer play right over there off Malvern Avenue. And hey, every time you go by there, whether it's Majestic or one of the fields around here, there's lots of kids out there giving it their all, and their future of not only baseball, softball, football, track and field, and soccer around this region. It looks strong. It looks like that the competition level is there, and we can't be any more proud. So anytime, whatever the occasion is, bringing that trophy home is so important. We saw it with a little team over there at Mountain Pine not too long ago, and so, hey, it's always special when you bring state championships home, and especially to our own little region where we love calling those kids' names out, Mark. You know that.
We sure do, Tracy. The future is so bright for each of these schools, each of these communities. I wish them the best of luck, whether it's on the baseball diamond, on the softball diamond, on the soccer field, and I hope they bring a trophy back home to the community that's given so much to support them as well.
Mark, last but not least, before we throw the tailgate up, I've got to give a big shout out to one of my long and dearest friends in the third industry, John Court, retiring this last weekend from riding you ready for this? Over 40 years in the saddle, retiring at the young age of 63, being one of the top jockeys, not only at Oaklawn, but around the United States. He's hanging up his crop, and he's calling it quits, and we wish him the best in whatever his endeavors are. And a little trivia out there, the last horse that he won on in his career was owned by no other than the Simpson family. So congratulations to John. Be careful over you guys this week. Whatever your sports is, Mark and I will cover it. And don't forget, hey, send us if you've got some accolades on any kids around the region. We'd love to hear about it. Email us at tracy@kvre.com. We love talking about our kids. For Mark Oliver, I'm Tracy Simpson. We're folding up the tailgate right here at Sports and Short Tailgate Edition at 92.9 and streaming at kvre.com.